sir, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Once again, it is Sovereign Saturday. A sovereign man doesn't have a particular look. Now, this is very important because, I see other stuff promoting a man being the best version of himself, and, I promote that. But you notice they promote like a rich fashion model type. A lot of other people, when they talk about like a 1% man, a top man and all of that, dressing well and everything. Look, a sovereign man is really within your mind. That means it don't matter what your height is, what your weight is, what your race is, anything of that nature. Anything of that nature, it's mental. It's mental. And yeah, as a sovereign man, you're still going to try to be in your best shape, but it don't mean you got to be physically perfect to the outside. You don't have to be some fashion model or fitness model or, had a drop dead handsome face or something like that. Anybody who thinks that way, quite frankly, they're stupid. It's a mindset. When you look, one of the things I found in life, some of the most sovereign men I've encountered might not look like what the media or movies or stuff like that might promote. A lot of time, only thing about them, only commonality was their mindset. Their mindset. Because your mindset, look, I don't care what you look like, that don't stop you from trying to control your life. It don't stop you from getting the basics of life. Like one thing a sovereign man will have is at least a driver's license. You'd be surprised how many men don't have driver's license or some type of ID or something like that, or staying out of the control of the criminal justice system. A sovereign man, that could be any man. There ain't a certain look to it. Now, it's great if, you might say, you might be into like building your body up. And I still, recommend body game for any man who wants to, be the best version. But, sovereignty is more about the mind. Like I said, you got some big men who are sovereign. They got control over their home. Shoot, they might have control over other homes. They got control over how they make money. They got control over themselves. They have a world. And see, it don't really matter so much what you look like. Now, yeah, your looks can influence people. Okay, that's fine, but it don't mean that you're sovereign. There's a lot of boy toys out there. They look a certain way. A lot of male concubines out there. Yeah, they sleeping with some women, but the women have control. A true sovereign man, that's all. It's the mindset. It ain't the look. It comes from the inside, because if you don't have that sovereign mindset, you're not going to have control over everything. You're not going to have your own business. You're going to be dependent on other people. You're not going to have control over some things or leverage in other things. You got to ride alone. It don't matter what you look like, but you got to have that mindset. I'm going to control what I control, because I'm going to be real. I can't look at a man until he has a level of sovereignty. I have to talk with him. I got to see what he's about. Because even if a man walks along confidently, he could be masking something. There is not a look to sovereignty. It's not an outer look. You might get some guy who say, you know what, I'm gonna still stay in decent shape, or try to anyway, but in building my sovereignty, I can't be in the gym all day. So he might be a little bit overweight. He might be a little bit underweight. You know what? He might not wear the fashionable clothing. There's a lot of guys who make money, they ain't gonna be some fashion model and have all the latest clothing and stuff. In fact, a lot of times they might go against the grain. You get some guys, they might stand out. Some people might, on the surface call them weird, or, they ain't cool. But all that shit don't have anything to do with sovereignty. Being cool to everybody else just means you following along. Shoot, you're going to wear the hair that you're going to wear your hair, cut your hair the way you want it to. You're not going to follow the crowd, Or if you decide to, it'll be your decision. you still, I mean, you still need to keep in good shape. But it might not be that aesthetic that somebody say, oh, you're going to get all the ladies and everything. It's going to be up here. Everything starts in the mind. I don't care what it is, what you're talking about. Everything starts in the mind. If your mind isn't right, you won't be sovereign. I can just tell you that right now. And so you got a lot of guys thinking, well, yeah, I got to have. Like I've seen some stuff talking about a top man is going to have like a certain percentage of body fat. Let's talk about that. As much as I promote body game, I got to call that part out. Like, oh yeah, you only going to have your top 1% man. And they always talking about a top 1% man as far as they look. But I'm like, yeah, but they work for other people. Do they have a business? Do they have control over their life? Or they just going along? And in fact, they ain't really sovereign. A lot of times when you get somebody like that, you can mess them up by saying, nah, you don't look like all of that. Now, in fact, tell somebody who calls himself very attractive, look them in the eye and say, yeah, you ain't all that. And it happens. You notice they go crazy. They go crazy. They like, go into depression and everything. But a sovereign man ain't worried about it. You tell him, oh, you don't look like a fashion model. Yeah, but I have control over my life. I got leverage over my life. That's very important. And understand something. He can look like anything. The only commonality, if I get 100 sovereign men in the room, they ain't gonna look alike. They ain't gonna have the same body builds, same races, anything, even the same religions. They ain't gonna have anything in common except all of them have a sovereign mindset. All of them have a sovereign mindset. All of them will talk about what level of control they have in their life, over themselves, over their immediate environment, and where they don't have outright control, what type of leverage they have. Even if they work for somebody, like a sovereign man might have to work for somebody for a bit, or might even just like the career, they still gonna have leverage. They still gonna be in a management position. They still will even be in a position where the job can't get rid of them easily. That's what it means, but it's gonna be the mindset. You're not gonna see it. You'll know them by how they talk. You'll know them by their actions. That's the very important thing when you talk about a sovereign man. So understand that. So don't think you got to look a certain way. Anybody who thinks somebody's running something just off of what they looking or sovereign, no, not at all. Not at all. It's all up here. Always remember that. It's all up here. So anyway, that's all I have for now. Keep rising to become the sovereign man that you're meant to be. Peace and blessings.